All right, guys, what is going on? SteelTwins coming back at you with Week 6 predictions, and for this week, we have a very special guest. We have Daniel of State of the Steelers. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. It's been better. Pittsburgh Steelers down 1-4 makes things a little bit difficult, but we're given everything, getting to watch the future franchise quarterback. I've been doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can say the same. You speak for a lot of us. Only so you might as well speak for all of Steeler Nation when you say
Yeah,
that.
we're just trying to get by. Let's say it.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying this year, but just ride with what we have so far. But yeah, we just did a little video preview for the Bucs game and a little little segment of how can the Steelers stop bleeding on his channel. So definitely check that out. Link is definitely in the description below. Also, I believe we almost ran into each other at Latrobe, right? Until there was, of course, terrible weather. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was out there for the Friday Night Lights. That was super disappointing.
Yeah.
I was expecting to see Kenny Pickett, and this offense, and the whole optimism was rich in the air at that point, and then rainstorm came down.
Yeah, because I remember it was all packed with Steeler Nation. We were all hyped to see, and the players didn't even get off the bus. And I still think it was fishy from the organization how they did that when they knew that the weather was there that whole time, and they still didn't recompensate anybody because the tickets were cash only and it said no or not refundable on them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucks, but it really more sucks for the people that traveled so far, like you, from Texas to see this and got nothing in return. So that really sucks, man.
Yeah, it really did. Fortunately, I was there the day before, and I got to see one practice. It was supposed to be one practice and then the Friday Night Lights. I almost stayed the next day, and fortunately, I didn't because that one was also canceled, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I almost stayed an extra day for nothing. But, I got to go. I got to see, one practice out there. I ran into Matt Canada. I ran into Danny Smith. I probably should have kept Matt Canada out there in the rain a little bit longer when the thunderstorms came. But sorry, Steeler Nation, I didn't. I let him go inside. I ran into him. I talked to a couple of the players that were out there. It was a fun experience.
Yeah, I mean, at least it wasn't all lost for you, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, for sure. I plan on going back next year again. Probably not just for a couple of days. I think I'm going to try to get out a whole week just in case the rain gets out there. I hear Pittsburgh likes to rain a lot during that time.
It definitely does, and I've been thinking about doing the same. Might hit up a vacation week for that, and then get out to Latrobe for a nice week, kind of enjoy a little vacation or so. So
It'd be nice.
But I mean, by the looks of it, we're going to have a high draft pick, so it might be good to see that player out there.
Absolutely, whoever that is, man, absolutely. But let's get into these week 6. It's week 6 already. We're almost a third into the season already. That's nuts. Week 6, we start off Thursday Night Football with a Boar Fest. We have Washington at Chicago. What's your prediction?
Oh, goodness. Man, I'm actually going to watch that game and call it on one of my other channels. I think that the Bears are going to pull it together. One of my buddies is a Bears fan, so I'm going to say the Bears win that game.
Yeah, this one was tough for me because, I mean, it's very similar to last week with the Broncos and Colts, which was probably the worst game we've all watched in our entire lifetime.
Yeah.
This one on paper could be worse, but at least there should be some scoring. That being said, I'm going to go Washington. I like their offensive attack better. I like what they have in general. I mean, they're still not all there, and Ron Rivera was very he didn't exactly say it, but he kind of threw a shot at Carson Wentz. So, it seems like Washington's still not getting it together, but I love their offensive weapons. So, in that case, I'll go Washington, but I could see a decent performance here because both defenses are still suspect.
Yeah, I mean, both teams obviously aren't there yet. They still got a long way to go until they have any sort of, realistic, capabilities for both their teams and their franchises. But for these type of games where I'm just undecided, I usually go with the home team. So I'm going with Chicago here. I could see Washington, keeping it close, and maybe Wentz has a bounce back game. I'm not sure. I don't really trust Carson Wentz, but I'm just going to go with the home team here and pick Chicago.
Okay. Moving on to Sunday, we have San Francisco at the Atlanta Falcons. What's your prediction?
I'm going to go with San Francisco in this game. I think that under Jimmy G, they've been a little bit more explosive. Offensively, it seems like they're kind of gotten back on track, and when it comes to that part of the field, I think they continue their offensive powerhouse on against the Atlanta Falcons. I know it's in Atlanta, and Atlanta came back against Tampa Bay with a very suspect, roughing the passer call on Tom Brady. But if you look at the first half of that game, Tampa Bay was in control of that game, and I think that San Francisco will probably do the same.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to go San Francisco here. Atlanta, I mean, has offensive talent. It's just, they're obviously still in that quarterback transition. So,
yep.
Nonetheless, San Francisco for me as well.
Yeah, since Jimmy G stepped in for San Fran, they've looked much more competitive. They look much more better than when Trey Lance was in there. Atlanta, they're still trying to, find their identity, with the quarterback transition and the weapons they have on offense, which are very good. But some of them guys are getting injured. Kyle Pitts didn't play against Tampa Bay.
He doesn't play any week. I have him in fantasy.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about that. But Cordell Patterson's still hurt. He's going to be out for at least the next 3 weeks. So with that being said, I'm going San Francisco. I like their matchup better.
Yeah, agreed. Next game, we have the New England Patriots who, with Bailey Zapp, shut out the number one scoring offense in the Lions.
Yeah.
They face the Cleveland Browns at Cleveland. What's your prediction?
Bailey Zapp is still going to be the starting quarterback, correct?
I believe because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian Hoyer's on IR.
Yes.
So, yes, you're correct.
Correct. Awesome. Yeah, if it was Mac Jones, I'd probably go with Cleveland. But since it's Bailey Zapp, I think they win this game. I think he's a competent young man. He can control the offense. You're looking at Bill Belichick versus Jacoby Brissett. He's familiar with him. He knows him ins and outs. He was his coach. I think he has the upper hand in this matchup. I'm going to take the New England Patriots here.
Very, very good point about that. He was the man that drafted him into this league. And with that being said, I got to go New England as well. I think the ground game has a fun day. I know that the Browns just traded for Deion Jones, but I'm not even sure if he'll be active for this one. So, yeah, give me New England.
Yeah, New England, despite everything, that's happening with their quarterbacks to Mac Jones and Brian Hoyer, they're still competitive. Bill Belichick, despite who he has, despite what's happening with New England, he finds a way to remain competitive, and he finds a way to get a win. I think against Cleveland, he does it again.
Right.
Cleveland's looked pretty solid with Jacoby Brissett in there, and they're getting some pieces in there week by week, but it's just hard to bet against New England despite, what they're dealing with. So give me New England here.
Next game, New York Jets at Green Bay Packers, man. Green Bay's still looking a little rough. New York had a very convincing win versus Miami. Granted, they were without Tua and then eventually Bridgewater, but what's your prediction?
Yeah, this one's going to be a tough game. I think that Green Bay's been struggling quite a bit. I think that they're going to turn a corner, though. I think there's a lot of chemistry issues with new receivers out there and Aaron Rodgers. They're going to get their stuff together. They had a long trip to London here not too long ago, and so I think that kind of plays a toll, and those kind of games are kind of fluky. And so this game is going to be in Green Bay. I think Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers are going to win this game, and they may win this convincingly.
Yeah, they're definitely the favorite, especially since they're returning to home in Lambeau. I'm going to go upset of the week. I'm going the Jets.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go Jets. That's my upset of the week.
Just like that.
Just like that. Enough said.
You think Zach Wilson beats out
not okay. I'm not that convincing when I say that, but I have to have an upset of the week. So that's my upset of the week.
Okay. Well, considering it's in Lambeau and considering that they lost and blew a lead against the New York Giants, although they've looked, pretty solid this year, I don't see A-Rod and Green Bay and Matt LaFleur losing to two straight New York teams. I just can't, and especially since this one's in Lambeau. Give me Green Bay here. I can't. I can see the Jets keeping it competitive,
right,
but I can't see the Green Bay losing to the Jets in Lambeau. So give me A-Rod and Green Bay.
Okay. Next game, we have a divisional matchup from the AFC South. We have Jacksonville traveling to Indianapolis to face the Colts. What's your prediction?
Man, those divisional games are always tough to predict because those teams know each other fairly well. I like to give the advantage to the home team. This situation here, Matt Ryan, he's a bit of a statue. They've pulled up a couple of upsets though against the Chiefs here recently. I think they win in this game just because they're at home. I was very disappointed in Jacksonville losing to Houston last week. I had a bet on that game, and so I'm going to go ahead and go with the Colts on this one.
Agreed. I'm going to go Indianapolis. I know Jacksonville's had an up and down year. They're definitely better than what they were last year. Indianapolis beat Denver last week. Didn't even score a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor should be back in this one, and that's big. Taylor himself has had an up and down year. Maybe this is the game he goes off because it's against a divisional rival. But give me Indianapolis.
Well, Jonathan Taylor, I hope so, because since week 1, he hasn't done anything for me because I have him as my number 1 running back in fantasy.
Could you say he's the worst number 1 overall pick in fantasy history so far?
I don't know about history so far, but he's definitely underperformed this year.
Right.
But if he is in this game, I definitely think he bounces back. He's bound to have a bounce back game, especially against a division rival in Jacksonville that just lost to the Houston Texans, gave the Texans their first win of the season, and now they have to go on the road and face Indianapolis, who are coming off I'd say a mediocre win against Denver. But Indianapolis, with Frank Reich, they somehow, some way, he despite the quarterback controversy of playing hot potato with every quarterback since he's been head coach, he finds a way to keep the Colts competitive.
Right. But I also don't see the Colts being swept by Jacksonville.
No, and I can't recall the last time that actually happened.
Right.
Was that last year?
Maybe.
I can't remember.
Maybe it was last year.
Nonetheless, I don't think it happens again. Indianapolis, I'm taking them.
Okay. Next game, another divisional matchup. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not. Excuse me. I thought it was a divisional matchup because I'm looking at the Packers logo. Minnesota at Miami. I don't know if Tua is going to be back, and I don't know what's the update on Bridgewater. Do you have any update?
I heard that he passed the concussion protocol. However, because of the motor stuff that happened on the field, of the way he fell, was the reason why they kept him out of that game. I think he'll probably end up coming back. However, Tyreek Hill also went down with an injury in this game. He was in a walking boot. I think they're a little bit too banged up. I think Minnesota wins this game.
Agreed. I got to go Minnesota. I got to go with the hot hand. Jefferson's going off. Kirk Cousins looking decent. Cook's looking good. I mean, Minnesota's actually starting to look it's still kind of Minnesota, but they're looking convincing. They're making some comeback wins. They're looking pretty solid. So, yeah, give me Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, I mean, surprisingly, at least to me, I don't know about you guys, but to me, they're 4-1, surprisingly.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even look at their record.
Yeah, they're 4-1. Kirk Cousins has had a very up and down year, but he's connecting to Thielen. He's connecting to Jefferson. Dalvin Cook's looking good. The defense is actually looking a lot better than I thought they would look.
Right.
And against Miami, that's beat up, that's bruised up, that's kind of on a downward spiral a little bit because of these injuries. I think Minnesota can pull off a victory and go to 5-1.
They should be able to take advantage for sure. Next game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the New Orleans Saints. I don't know if Michael Thomas is going to be back, and I don't even know if Jameis Winston is going to be back. So what's your prediction?
This is the Andy Dalton revenge game. New Orleans is a tough place to play. It's Alvin Kamara kind of made he had a bounce back game last week. Chris Olave is playing pretty good, but it comes down to who's throwing the ball. Taysom Hill had to have one of his games in all aspects of the field to pull out a victory here recently, and so my heart says that the Saints will win this one, but my head goes Cincinnati in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints just recently beat the Seahawks, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Thought so. And they still allowed over 30 points to Geno Smith, who we'll get into this Seattle soon. But, yeah, I got to go Cincinnati. I think their offensive power is going to be too much for New Orleans. I know New Orleans defense is still kind of there, but I think Lattimore has kind of dipped in value in performance. And Cincinnati is just too offensive strong to kind of contain here, especially with New Orleans still suffering with injuries. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton can only do so much as a backup. He's obviously nowhere near the quarterback that he once was back when he was in his prime with the Bengals. The injuries for the Saints are continuing to linger for them. They find ways, and Taysom Hill seems to be the guy that's really stepping up because he is the utility knife for that team. Mm-hmm. But Cincinnati, they lost a big game against Baltimore, division game against Baltimore on Sunday night, where they underperformed on offense against a defense in Baltimore that was really, really, underwhelming.
Right.
And I think for this game against, in my opinion, a better defense in the Saints, I think it's bound that Cincinnati has a bounce back game, even on the road, and the offensive weapons finally get they start to sync up and they start to, flash and become the offense that they were last year.
Right.
So I have to go with Cincinnati here.
Okay, so we're all agreeing on Cincinnati. How about this one? Baltimore at New York. Ravens versus the Giants. This should be a good one. What's your prediction?
Yeah, this one's going to be a good game. I think that, Danny Dimes there has kind of played above the line, but he's dealing with an ankle injury. He's been limited as well. He's been and he has not been as mobile as he's been recently or needed to be recently. That's kind of how they won some games with his mobility. I think Baltimore is just too much firepower on the offensive side. I think they end up winning this game. I just don't see the New York Giants being able to put up the amount of points that they're going to need to keep up with Baltimore.
Yeah, especially with the fact that they have no receivers at the moment.
No.
Even when they're fully healthy, they still have no receivers. They're going to have to rely on Danny Dimes' legs and Barkley, which, I mean, the Ravens' rushing attack and their ability to stop the run has been kind of suspect all year as well. So Barkley could have a good game and keep it in there, and thus the defense of the Giants is really going to have to step it up versus Lamar Jackson, who's looking really good. He had a decent game last week. He missed a couple deep shots that should have been easy touchdowns. But Baltimore still got the winner with Justin Tucker. I mean, go figure. But
yeah,
I almost want to go Giants here. I really almost want to go New York.
Okay.
I don't know if I will, though, because I'm not as convinced.
Well, the thing is, I'm actually impressed with how the Giants have been, with what Brian DeBull's done so far.
Yeah.
Within his first few games as a Giants head coach. It goes to show how bright the future is for the Giants.
Well, he's the best thing that's happened to New York since Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, I have to agree.
He brings so much fight to New York.
And Daniel Jones, surprisingly, and I read this fact on Twitter earlier today, surprisingly, he actually leads the NFL in comeback drives.
What?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah, no other quarterback is close to him. Daniel Jones leads. Yes. Could happen again in here against Baltimore. I don't know.
You know what? I'm going New York. Why not? Why not? Why not? Fuck the Ravens.
Something tells me about this game where Lamar could kind of underperform per se, if you know what I mean, and kind of one of the games where Harbaugh makes his idiotic, coaching decisions where he's a little too ballsy and stuff like that, and it kind of hurts them.
Bigger balls than brains.
Yes. It just speaks to me. I don't know if it's because the Giants are, pretty improved and they look pretty solid, or if it's on the road. But it just seems like one of those games where Harbaugh's, decision making could very well cost them.
Right.
So I can see the Giants pulling this one off. I really could.
See, with the Giants, I'm not trying to get too convinced because I still don't think they're there yet.
Oh yeah, they're nowhere near there yet.
No, not even close. But I don't know. Maybe they pull off the upset here. Speaking of upsets, do we see the Steelers pull off an upset here? Tampa Bay at the Steelers, man. How are you feeling about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now? How you feeling about Kenny Pickett? It's his first start in Pittsburgh. How you feeling going into this game?
Man, that's a bag of mixed emotions. To be 110% honest with you, guys, I'll be at this game. I'll be rooting hard. I can't wait to go see Kenny Pickett, and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is going to be, announced early. And I know that in the first game or in the last, home games, Mitch Trubisky was somewhere when the offense was announced in the middle of the pack. I think Kenny Pickett's going to be the last one to be announced. I think the stadium's going to erupt, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that. Going back to last week, I think Kenny Pickett made some throws. He's flashed. He's thrown some passes that make you think that this guy is going to be a franchise guy. You look at James Daniels and his comments after the game when he talks about, fighting for his franchise quarterback. He used the term franchise quarterback. That's not a term that was used around Mitch Trubisky, around Mason Rudolph. And so, I think the Steelers got a guy. With that being said, he's a rookie. There's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some, experiences that he's going to have to experience to gain experience.
Yeah.
And so I think this game's going to be a lot closer than the last game that the Steelers were just involved in. But I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they end up winning this game probably I think it's going to be a one-score game. I think the Steelers are going to keep it close. I think Kenny Pickett finally scores a touchdown through the air in this game. and the ball starts getting moved in the right direction. Rome wasn't built in a day, so to speak, and this team here has a lot of pieces that need to come together and a lot of pieces that need to grow up, and that's not going to happen in 1 week. But I think that the bumps and bruises the Pittsburgh Steelers have had up to this point, they make the man, so to speak, and they're making this team, and it's going to make them better. But I do think that they end up falling short in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree. But hopefully, the team does start showing some gelling, and the fact that they hopefully are growing on what the mishaps have been the past couple weeks, which has been very reoccurring. Not only the past couple weeks, but past couple years, honestly.
Yep.
And that reflects on everyone, honestly. So, guys, got to start stepping up. You're right. Rome wasn't built in a day. Give it a couple more weeks. It's a down year for sure. So we're just gonna enjoy the ride as much as we can. Tom Brady comes back to Pittsburgh probably for the last time. I gotta go Tampa Bay. In fact, this is gonna be my lock of the week. As much as I hate to say it, but let's go Tampa Bay.
Yeah, if anything for this game, though, I just hope that the Steelers keep it more competitive and they show fight.
Yes.
Because last week against the Bills, and Ryan Clark said it, he feels like the Steelers show no fight, and I have to agree with him. It's hard to disagree with him.
Right, and Tomlin has said that he's not opposed to any changes at anything, and that includes coaching. So
and it's something that Tomlin does need to do.
It absolutely is something he needs to do.
He's got to be an actual head coach, put his foot down, and do what's best for the team.
Right.
And I hope we see some of those changes in this game.
Definitely in this game, but especially heading before the bye, because we all know even after this game, we have Miami next week in prime time. We have the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, and then we have the bye. I'm more excited for the second half of the season because I know that's when we get Watt back. I'm sure that's when we're going to see more Calvin Austin. Pickett will be a lot more experienced. I think that's when the season gets really fun. But up until then, we're just going to route what we have and hope that the team improves on the god-awful performance from last week, which was actually the worst blowout that Steelers have suffered since 1989, which obviously they lost 51-0 versus the Browns. So, yeah, that goes to show you what state this team's in right now. So hopefully they come to show up.
Yeah, but with that being said, I still got Tampa Bay. They're not as threatening as they, once were, but it's still Tom Brady and company. He's got his targets completely healthy for the most part. The defense is still reliable, and we're going up against Leonard Fournette, and let's not forget what he did to us in 2017.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think I can see somewhat of a redo of that happening again.
Well, the cards just stacked against us, and if you're looking at history aspect.
Of course, and it's not good. So I have to go with Tampa Bay.
Okay. Moving on, we have the Carolina Panthers who finally fired Matt Rule, and Baker Mayfield will not be playing in this game. He'll be out for the next couple weeks. So to continue on the Panthers' just horrendous quarterback situation, P.J. Walker will be getting the start, and they face the Los Angeles Rams, who have got to be so frustrated with how underwhelming they've been. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I think that this is going to be this game's probably going to be poor. I don't think the Rams, they're having a Super Bowl hangover this year. It's injuries. Stafford's not looking the same. But even at that, I think they still overpower the dysfunction that is Carolina. I just think that it's in Los Angeles. Carolina, they just fired their coach. Their quarterback, Baker Mayfield, he is what he is, but I still think he's probably a better quarterback than Walker. I think that the Rams are going to probably turn a page. Cooper Kupp's going to come in this game, and I think they're going to be able to move up and down the field on these guys. And so I take the Los Angeles Rams in a game that I don't think either team gets over 20 points, but I think they take it.
I'm going to take those words very wisely because I might bet the under now that you said that. So I'm going to go Los Angeles as well. I'm not convinced in Carolina. It's the first step in the right move for them in firing Matt Rule. Whoever the interim guy is, hope he has a very similar season, kind of like what the Raiders had, but I don't see it because they're still not all there. They have certain guys on each side of the ball, but obviously not enough to get the job done. So LA for me.
Yeah, this is my luck of the week. I mean, considering how LA's performed, they're going to let off some steam, some frustration, and unfortunately, Carolina's going to be that team that they're going to do it on. So Los Angeles for sure.
Right. Next game, we have a divisional matchup, a good one at that. A lot of history between these two teams. Arizona at Seattle. This should be a good one, but what's your prediction?
I'm actually going to go with Seattle in this game. They're the home team. I've never bought into Kyle Murray. He's never been a guy that I thought was a franchise capable quarterback. I think that he's got some skills there that make him win a couple of games, but when it comes down to becoming successful long term and into the playoffs and potentially a Super Bowl run, I never thought he was that guy. He seems very selfish. He seems like a guy that they put a clause in his contract that he had to study. And so that kind of tells you a little bit about what kind of quarterback he is. He's not the first guy in the office, last guy to leave kind of dude. And so, Geno Smith, in my opinion, he's gotten a lot of flack, but he is a guy that will, put into work, and it's showing. He's surprised a lot of people. He surprised me this year. I don't think they're going to do anything spectacular or anything deep, but I think they're going to win this game against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% with everything you said about Kyler Murray. He's incredibly overrated. Didn't like him coming out the draft. Don't like him now, and he hasn't done anything for the Cardinals outside of one playoff performance, and we know how that went.
Yep.
And incredibly undeserving of that contract. And Arizona is still not convincing to me. They're not. So,
No.
In fact, I'm more convinced with Seattle than I am with Arizona. And Arizona's supposed to be an elite team based on the roster aspect. But yeah, give me Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a believer in Arizona. Kyler Murray, he's overrated. He's overpaid. He is just not. He's not bad, but he's not good.
Yeah, I mean, he's serviceable. He's kind of fun to watch, but like Dan said, he said it best. I mean, when it comes down to long term and winning, he's not the guy.
No, he's not. In Seattle, they've actually looked a lot better than I thought. Geno Smith's looking pretty solid. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they're finally connecting with Geno Smith.
It seems like Seattle made the right move this past offseason, and all of us.
He's looking better than Russell.
It seems like all of us were fooled. But
they took a bargain for Russell, and it's going to help him in the long run.
Yeah, it is,
Pete
man.
Carroll's a smart man.
Pete Carroll knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to think I thought that era was ending. Man, I don't know. Pete Carroll's keeping this team alive with Geno Smith.
Yeah, he definitely is. And with that being said, give me Seattle right here.
Yeah. Next game, we have what should be an incredible game, possibly game of the week, man. We're talking an AFC divisional matchup rematch that was probably one of the best games we all saw last year, man. Down to the wire, too many lead changes, went into overtime. My God. Could we see something similar here? We have Buffalo at Kansas City. Same setting, same spot, different time slot, but same team, same quarterbacks. Is it going to be the same result? What's your prediction?
No, this is going to be completely opposite. I think Buffalo smokes them. The Kansas City they're a good team, but they're not the juggernaut team that they were without Tyreek Hill. They're a step behind. They're a step slower. And you can see it, when they have losses like they did with the Colts, things of that nature, and even again, playing down towards the Vegas Raiders here today when this is recorded. And so I think that the Buffalo Bills showed that they're a team that is complete. They're probably the most complete team in the NFL right now. They're on all sides of the ball. And, what they were able to do against the Pittsburgh Steelers with their laundry list of injuries, majority of those guys are going to be back for this game. They got the depth. They got the play calls. I think they're going to win convincingly, probably by more than 10.
Wow, that's an interesting prediction. But you know what? I could actually see it because Kansas City, they have their convincing wins like they did versus the Bucs. But like you said, they lose to the Colts. They play down to the Raiders, even though it's a divisional matchup. Normally they play down versus the Raiders because that's just how the rivalry aspect goes. But
right.
Yeah, Kansas City's not as threatening. They're not.
I mean, the only guy they got receiving wise is Travis Kelce.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns he had in that Monday Night Football win. He's going to need to do something very similar against a Buffalo defense that is so stacked everywhere. But yeah, give me Buffalo. I think they definitely get their win back.
Yeah, I really like Buffalo's matchup. This game has all the makings to definitely be a shootout for sure, just like the divisional round matchup last year. But Buffalo's looking hot right now. Kansas City's still not too bad, but losing Tyreek Hill definitely, has its effects. Like I said, the only target they have receiving wise is Travis Kelce. But yeah. I feel like if Buffalo can find a way to at least limit him, because there's no way of stopping Travis Kelce. But if they can limit Travis Kelce and try to contain Patrick Mahomes to the best of their ability, I think Buffalo can definitely take this win on the road.
Right. Next game, though, we have another divisional matchup, one of the better ones, which we see all the time in prime time, but normally is a good showing. Dallas at Philadelphia. Cooper Rush. Think about this, man. We're talking about two of the most undefeated characters right now. Philadelphia, undefeated. Cooper Rush, undefeated as a starter. Who gets the L?
I'm hoping the Cowboys get the L. I live in Texas, guys. I'm tired of hearing this crap. So, when you look at it, this is going to be a defensive matchup, in my opinion. Then it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts versus Cooper Rush. And, man, Cooper Rush is hot. He's making some moves. He's doing some things out there, and he's keeping Dak on the bench. Jerry Jones has come out. I live in Texas again, and so he comes out in the news quite often. And, he's come out talking about, he's not ready. He's not ready. However, he was singing a different tune not too long ago. But then, he gets a guy in there and he changes it. It just takes one loss, and I guarantee you Dak will be back, though. But I think that the Philadelphia Eagles win this game because it's in Philadelphia. I think the home field advantage does take a toll here. I think that the weather might take a toll. It's pretty warm out here in Texas still. We're still seeing temperatures around 90. So going out there, yeah, we've had it's hit 80, but this week it's supposed to go back up to 90. And so it's warm. I know it's a little bit chilly out there in Pennsylvania, and so I think give me Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia wins this in a close defensive battle.
Yeah, I'll take my 60-degree weather and definitely enjoy it. I can't believe it's still in the 90s over there, man.
Yeah.
I like what you said about that weather aspect. That's definitely going to be a game changing, especially since it's a open air stadium for sure. So yeah, I got to go Philadelphia as well. They're too convincing, at least to me right now. I think they remain that way. It's a divisional matchup. It'll remain close, but I think Cooper Rush's undefeated streak comes to an end. I think Philadelphia definitely gets the win here and remains undefeated themselves.
Yeah, Philadelphia is just too hot right now. They're too, overpowering in my honest opinion.
Shout out to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, he's definitely looking so he's looked so convincing.
Right.
To be, the guy at quarterback for Philadelphia. I'll give Dallas this. Despite Dak, being hurt, Cooper Rush has looked solid. And the Dallas defense has actually been excellent. It's been really, really good.
Yeah, but they're going to have to step up big time.
Yes, they are.
They're facing an Eagles team, which for the majority of their games have scored 24 points in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas defense has done great, but, yeah, they got Jalen Hurts to go up against. They got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to go up against. Miles Sanders seems to be on pace for a breakout year for sure.
If I'm correct, I believe Dallas is one of the few teams that haven't allowed 20 points or more all season.
I think it might be right.
This is a big test for Dallas, man.
Yes, it is. And if Dallas can hold up, then that really goes to show you the type of team Dallas truly is. We can all make fun of them, all this and that, this is their year, all that stuff like that. But no, Dallas's defense has actually looked pretty solid, but this is a big test. And I just don't think that they can really hold up against Philadelphia's hot offense. So I'm going to go with Philly right here.
Okay.
Also, Parsons has been dealing with a groin injury. He's been in and out of the lineup. He's still doing some havoc. And Diggs, he's known to give up a couple of big plays. He'll take some, but he's known to give up some big plays. So this will be a close one.
It'll definitely be a close one. It'll be a fun one. One that on paper looks like a fun one, but I don't know if it will be. It's another divisional matchup here. It's Denver at Los Angeles. What is wrong with Denver?
Russell Wilson, he's overrated. That's one of the things. I think they gave up too much for him. They took some of his weapons away, Noah Fant, things of that nature. It's just you put a lot of eggs in one basket and it doesn't work out. This is the outcome that happens. And so, I think that in this game, Los Angeles, they're too offensively, they're too much for the Broncos as far as what the Broncos have shown up to this point in this year. I think this one's going to be it's going to be closer just because it's a divisional game. However, I really think that the Chargers pull away in the fourth quarter in this game and win by more than 2 scores.
Yeah, what I've noticed with the Chargers is they're still the Chargers, but even when they're down, they do come back.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, see, this is the weird thing with LA is that when they're down, they'll come back, but when they have a lead, they'll give it up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but with Denver and their offense, which got 0 touchdowns last week, and has been so underwhelming all year. I don't see no change. Give me LA. I actually think this could be because LA is as advertised. And although Denver's defense has been very good and it's kept them in games the past couple weeks, Herbert could have a good one here. So, yeah, give me LA.
It definitely could, but I see this game being highly, highly defensive right here. Just based on Denver's offense, underperforming, and Denver's defense, stepping up big time. I mean,
so what you're saying is I should take the under.
You do what you want. I mean, that's your decision, but I mean, for Denver, thank God they have that defense.
Yeah.
They better be counting their blessings. They at least have a defense, because if they didn't, my God, they wouldn't have a win at all. But I don't think they win this game. I don't. I think Los Angeles does get the win at home. It's just I don't trust Denver. I don't trust Russell Wilson. I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett. I trust Justin Herbert. So I'm gonna go with Los Angeles.
All righty. Otherwise, that'll be it for the Week 6 picks, man. Again, huge shout, huge thank you to Dan of State of the Steelers for joining us. We appreciate you for having us on your channel and for you coming on ours, man. It's always a great time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
And where can they find you, man?
You can find me on YouTube at State of the Steelers. We're giving away actually 2 tickets to a Vegas Raiders Steelers game on Christmas Eve. So if you guys find me, please hit that subscribe button. You can also find me on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Just search up State of the Steelers, and on Twitter at State of Steelers.
There you go, man. Links in the description. Definitely go sub to him. Otherwise, Dan, appreciate you once again, and can't wait to do it some other time down the road. Otherwise, you're more welcome to join us in the Peace Out Tour, brother.
Awesome. Thank you.
So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!